Oh, ha, hey, you're still here. So, our next lecture is going to be discussing time travel. Now, time travel has been a theory that has puzzled mankind for years and years, even centuries after centuries, decades after decades. But, do we really know how to crack time travel? The answer to that is no. Many have tried, but all have failed to no effect. Well, I have the equation for here. You see, apostrophe t equals t square rooted over 1 minus v2 with a slash of c2, which means and c2, by the way. Now, what do these symbols mean? Well, these symbols, apostrophe t stands for dilated time. Regular t looks like it stands for stationary time. V stands for velocity, and C stands for the speed of light. Now, there is another thing called time dilation, and time dilation is really similar to the equation mathematically for time travel, except you have the apostrophe t stands for the change in time. The t stands for the rest time. The v still stands for velocity, and the c still stands for speed of light. Now, this equation down here is for time dilation, or the other type of equation, like the change in time right here. The change in time with this triangle and the apostrophe t. It stands for relative time viewing the clock in a reference frame. Now this one right here, this one stands for the reference of the change in time. The v2 represents the speed of light, clock, and the clock relative to the outside observer. Sorry if I'm stuttering, it's just hard to explain it. Now the C2 is the scientific symbol for speed of light squared. Now, I know I sound like a college professor knowing about this, but I do like science. Now, another thing we're going to be discussing is a time loop. Now, no one really knows what a time loop is or what it does. So, allow me to explain what a time loop actually is. Notice this is a diagram of one. A time loop is a temporal loop in fiction where there is a plot device whereby characters, even in reality, may re-experience a span of time repeatedly until something is done to restore everything back to the way it was prior to that day, going on constant repeat. Now, the best simple way I can explain it is a time loop is kind of resembles to the movie Groundhog Day, reliving the same day over and over again until something in that day is fixed to where you can put it back to normal. See, it's like going in counterclockwise, which explains the clock metaphor in this type of problem. Now, to all of you who want to be future time travelers, and I also want to be a future time traveler who discovers time travel if it's possible, you must understand the dangers of it. Like this. Time traveling can be quite dangerous as it's possible. You can enter a paradox. Now, if you don't know what a paradox is something that cannot be true, but also at the same time it cannot be false. If you ever travel through space, if you ever travel through the space-time continuum, and even if you change one little thing you did in the past, even the tiniest thing that you might have screwed up with, it can alter the course of history, even your own timeline. would reset, leaving you in an alternate version of your present day. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's some rules regarding time travel or traveling through the space-time continuum. There are no paradoxes. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2. Traveling to the future is easy. Rule number 3. Traveling into the past is hard, but maybe not impossible. Rule number 4. Traveling through time is like traveling through space. Rule number 5. Things and people that travel together age together. Rule number 6. Most important. Black holes are not time traveling machines. No. Black holes are not time machines. Sorry, I kind of had a tongue twister for a minute. Rule number 7. If something happened, it happened. Nothing can or will be undone. Even if you try to fix the mistake, it's already been done. Rule number 9. You can't travel back to before the time machine was built. Because, say you build a time machine, and, of course, you want to see if it's still the same in the past. Well, according to the rules, you can't go back to when it was first built. Rule number 10. Rule number 9. Rule number 9. Oh, no. Yep, rule number 10. I miscounted. Rule number 10. Of course, you can go back to the time that your or someone else's time machine was built unless you're in a parallel universe, unless you go to a parallel universe, because parallel universes, the kind that we contemplate in the many worlds interpretations of quantum mechanics, this theory also boggles my mind. We think we are the only us, but there are multiple versions and multiple Earths, which means multiple versions of ourselves. Like, let's say, in one universe, I'm totally pure muscle, like a bodybuilder. In one universe, I might have committed some crime that was so terrible that was illegal in that reality. And in another universe, I would have been the highest intelligent person to ever build a school for the gifted, or be able to teach a few classes at Harvard. Alright, then we go on to the final rule. Rule number 11. Even when you travel to either the past or the future, your old universe is still the same. And I didn't write this down, but rule number 12 is totally most important. The essence of what you know about time travel when you're going into the present or to the future. If you time travel to the present or to the future, all depending if time travel actually exists, you should never, ever bump into your past or future self. Because if you bump into your past self or your future self, you can never make contact or be able to talk to them, because if you talk to them or if you try to make contact with them, you've got to wear a clever disguise, and of course you've got to make sure that you spill no information about the future, because if you see them, tell them what's going on. Tell them what's going on in your present day or in your past, or tell them what's going on in your present day, their future, their past. It could totally create an entirely new paradox, leading to a vortex to suck everyone into time, suck everyone in the world going through time, reliving every position that everything has ever existed, or every type of paradox leading to a vortex of everything that God has created. So that's why you should be careful regarding time travel. With that said, I hope you guys have amazing. I hope you guys have an amazing present, an amazing past, and an amazing future. Good luck to all of you.